All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the Daily Chop. Thank you guys for being here. First off, I want you to remember to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Today, I have a couple special guests with me. One you guys know that I like very much, Natalie, is here with me, and then I got a second guest here, Gabe. Welcome back, Gabe.
Hey there.
Absolutely.
How you guys been?
Good to be back, brother.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
What's new with you guys?
Life, living life.
What's new?
Yeah, what's new? What's work?
I got
work
a
life?
break,
Okay.
a 5-day break.
Yeah, it's good. Get away from all them
I
kids.
think we could all use
Yeah.
a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great one.
This is a good time to get away and escape for a little bit, right?
It
Yeah.
is. What'd you do for the 4th, man?
Oh, dude, barbecue. A little bit of barbecue, a little bit of family time, a little bit of explosives, set some things off, say hi to some people.
You got all 5 fingers still? 10
Got all 5 fingers, man. Didn't have any explosives go off in my hand like some of these folks out here, weirdos that just, I don't know, refuse to let a firework go to waste, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
popping
it's got the
them
little
everywhere.
bitty fuse on it. You ever seen that? Somebody tries to light that fuse, it's just way too small, and they just don't want to let it go. Like, I can't waste this. Let it blow up in their hand, dude. It's crazy.
You ever seen the reels where they light the firecracker and put the lighter down and hold the firework?
Yeah. And
I mean,
it
I'm
blows
sure-
up in their hand.
Yeah, I don't know if that's real or not, but
It probably is.
I don't know.
People
You think?
just catch it. Yeah. Maybe.
Who knows?
Some of it might be fake or, for the views, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it happens.
I'd say so.
We didn't see any fireworks this year.
No, we didn't. I was just kind of wanting to chill.
Eh,
Kids were all out watching.
they're not all they chalked up to be, anyways, dude. You've seen them once, you've seen them 1,000 times. That's what people say about Mount Rushmore, you know? Like, hey, you've seen it on TV, you're like, you've seen the Mount Rushmore guy. You're like, you don't need to go see it in person.
Yeah.
That's true, I guess.
I don't know.
I mean,
I
I
don't know.
heard it.
I like to travel, though. I don't know. I think that'd be okay.
Yeah.
But
It'd,
I don't
probably
know, it's just me.
it'd be pretty cool.
I don't know if I could travel with the kids, though, sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're like always complaining sometimes. Like, it's boring. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't appreciate the little things.
They don't, man. I don't know how to get them to
No,
sometimes.
I know.
I don't know what's wrong with these guys. They're like, I just rather sit in front of the TV screen.
Yeah. Kidding me,
The
dude.
reels. They're in love with their phones.
Yeah, they don't know how to stop scrolling.
It's a demon.
It is. But today, guys, we are talking about parasites. And if you ask, what is a parasite? A parasite is an organism. It needs a host. It needs you to live on. And you do have parasites. I have parasites.
We all have
She
parasites.
has parasites. He has parasites. We all got them, especially you animal lovers that just, get your cat and your dog and just
Smooch them.
licking all over you,
Love and kisses.
So I think that's just what we're talking about there is the other organisms that we find that soak into our body from the dirt, from foods, water, mosquitoes,
Yeah.
very few, many times. I don't know how many times. I don't know what the fact is on it, but the number. But rabies. Rabies is a form of parasite that definitely comes and attacks people every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
The other one that I'm going to bring up is I thought maybe, I don't know for sure, so I'm going to need your guys' help, is COVID. Could COVID have been a parasite?
$1 million question right there. $1 million question.
It is.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't
that
really
just,
know.
I'm wondering it.
I mean, I think so.
I mean, that,
I think
There
it
was-
makes sense.
it does. There was quite a few people that was saying ivermectin was the way to go if you had COVID.
Yeah. Fenbendazole as well.
What's ivermectin?
Ivermectin is
For the people that don't know.
ivermectin is a medicine that they give you to deworm or kill parasites. And they use it for animals. They use
Mostly
it
horses. I think.
horses, dogs. Now there's
People.
people
yeah.
can definitely get it for sure.
Religion made for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's what that is. There's what'd you say the other one was called, Gabe?
Well, fenbendazole.
Fenbendazole. Okay.
Yeah, the fenbendazole as well.
Fenbendazole.
Yeah, that's what they're saying is killing parasites, but that's what was used, right? We know people were using that to get rid of COVID, and obviously, so people were wondering if COVID was associated with parasites, and who knows? It could be. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these diseases that we're contracting, especially when they were given COVID tests. We know a lot of people contracted COVID after receiving the test, even, and then it begs the question: were they, purposely infecting people with COVID?
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I remember even hearing nurses. Like, I was a waitress at one point, and I remember hearing nurses talk about just like how different things were, and like how they purposefully were calling it or making them call it COVID, even though they felt like it was the flu.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people who came in with like symptoms, but like they were like the flu.
Right.
So I think there was like a lot of shady stuff going on.
yeah. What about the autopsies too that we've seen that had been given to people that had died from having received the vaccine?
The vaccine, right?
You ever seen those vials that they have filled up with that crap that's in
Yeah.
there? Like,
What
what does
is
that
that?
look like?
Right.
It look like worms to me, dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Look
Yeah.
like,
It looked like a big parasite.
yeah. So who knows? Just makes you wonder what's in these vaccines as well. This is all speculation. Obviously, we're not
Right,
experts or anything like
We're
that.
not
We haven't done
doctors.
tests. We don't got a lab here, but
Yeah.
this is all speculation. But
Yeah,
I mean, so
for sure.
they say there's like 3 main types that
Like the
norm-
most common.
most common types. There's
Yeah.
there's a bunch of them. But the most common types, was it ecto?
yeah, ectoparasites,
Ectoparasites.
the
Helminths,
and the protozoa.
and the protozoas. And the ectoparasites, them are like what, fleas, ticks, I do believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, lice,
Fleas.
ticks, fleas. Yeah.
Yep. Mites,
Mites. Ooh,
head lice,
head lice. That's crazy.
crabs.
Gross.
Ooh, who gets crabs still? I don't know. I haven't heard of anybody still getting crabs. I don't know. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
still around.
Probably is.
Like, what kind of sicko do you got to be to get crabs? Like, you're just sick. Like,
Oh, man.
Like, get rid of yourself. Dude. You know what I mean? Oh my god.
But then they got, what's the other? They got toxoplasma. Is it toxoplasma?
Yeah, the ecto.
Tox.
Yeah, I believe you have it right. I believe.
And yeah, toxoplasma is a different one. I think that one's like, it has to deal.
Yeah, it's Toxoplasma gondii. That's the parasites that come from the cats.
From the cats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toxoplasma gondii.
Yeah.
Gondii.
Gondi
I don't know if we're
gondii.
saying that right.
Yeah, whatever.
And you got hookworms, and that's what kind of worm? What kind of them? Like your
That's
basic
like-
worms.
And I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like Ancylostoma denale or something,
I don't know. They got some weird names.
Sound
aka
it out.
hookworm.
Gotta
Yeah.
just sound it out.
You just
But hookworms, they say hookworms come from the dirt. I do believe, and you can absorb them
or soil. Yeah.
through soil.
Yeah.
As you're walking, if you're barefooted, or if you're in the garden, possibly, just walking through, they're gonna creep in and get in you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, once they get in you, a lot of them are gut ones, right? The main ones that we get are gut. Is that correct?
I mean, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
The most common ones, yeah, are in the gut. Yeah, for Well, I wouldn't say Americans. I'd say like globally.
Gut and intestines. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about guts, intestines, organs. You know what I mean? So
And they say like gut health is like very key to
yeah, your mental state.
our
And-
mental
and
state,
your body,
our
physical,
body
yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
and the way it can work. Now, the one thing I learned about this week was what was the one that we was talking about ants, how it changes their mind and the way
Yeah,
they think.
that was the cordyceps. It's a type of cordyceps. Obviously, it's not like the ones that humans take, but it's a type of cordyceps that infects their brain, and
changes
grows.
them,
It grows in them and
controls
it
them.
controls them. Yeah, it's basically what the show or the video game is. The Last of Us was based off of
Yeah,
that, but only in human form, where it affected humans in that same way. But
Yeah.
so that
super creepy.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about it, what happens to them is when the ants are on the ground, there's spores that are released, and these spores hit the ant. And so the ant goes back to its home. A lot of the times, a tree, if it's in the jungle, and then it'll get sick with this parasite. The parasite travels to the brain, and then
Ugh.
the ant will
It, like,
start to go to
grows.
delusional,
Yeah.
and it'll fall out of the tree. So when it falls out of the tree, it begins to walk on its hind legs on two legs. That's what they call it, the zombie parasite. It's like a nickname for it.
yeah,
Sick.
And it'll eventually walk to a specific leaf that the parasite is attracted to.
Ew.
And then when it gets to the leaf, it'll die.
Yeah.
And then the leaf will cover it, and then it grows a stem out of it.
It's making me itchy.
And once it grows that stem out of it, it'll release more spores
yeah,
to trap more ants, and the parasite continues that cycle.
Babe.
yeah.
Gross.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of parasites out there that control the mind.
Yeah.
Now-
And your cravings.
I was about to bring that up.
Yeah, what
The
you want to
cravings,
eat.
like, they say parasites like to feed on sugar.
Yeah.
On a high, on a very sweet environment, a host that's got a lot of sugar. So it can make people crave chocolate, sweets, the junk food that is normally affordable in America these days.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
That'll destroy you.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess real quick before I pass on, what do you guys think it can control our minds like that?
well, you certainly know it affects our minds like that. I mean, that's for sure. Whether it controls it or not, I don't know. That's up for debate, obviously. But if you're talking about things like what we were talking about, schizophrenia and things like that, I mean, you're not necessarily in control of your mind if you're being affected with these things and plagued with these things, right? Those are obviously some of the more serious conditions that we've talked about. But you know what I mean? If we're talking about affecting the mind, I mean, that's pretty severe. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I've even, read some things that, like, as far as depression, anxiety, mood changes, fatigue. When somebody has low energy, they don't, typically feel good anyway.
Right.
So I would say so, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No, you. I think you've read a lot of the journals, the doctor's journals, and that's had some really creepy stuff in there.
Yeah.
If you guys go and read them, do you have any of the? Can you reference any of them journals you read?
Yeah, I have a couple things here.
Look at her; she's been studying this whole time. She's got a whole list to freak
She's
everybody
got,
out.
She's got her own journal. She's like, it's my journal, actually. I wrote it.
Shut up.
Oh man,
This is from, actually, I think this one was from Cleveland Clinic, but
Get some reference names, maybe you could just throw out and
okay, so no, it was Wiley Online Library,
okay.
and it's parasitology.
Parasitic?
No,
oh parasitology.
how do you say that word?
Parasitology? I don't know.
Parasitology.
not seeing it.
Immuno. I don't know. Stop.
Jeez, wow. Sound it out.
can't.
Gotta sound it out. Come on.
I can't sound it out.
Well, anyways,
But-
I'll wait for you to find that.
Yeah.
Gabriel, what are some of the things I know you've been like working on, taking some natural things?
Yeah, a lot of natural things. I mean, well, what you just talked about a little bit ago, as far as the sugar and starving them out. I know we've talked about how fasting helps starve these freaking creatures that are living in our bodies. I've seen some people that have gone on extended periods of fasting and have found themselves crapping out clumps of worms
Ew.
Yeah.
and just large groups, like I mean, and a lot of folks have experienced. Obviously, you're not putting anything out if you're not taking anything in. But after going on an extended period of a fast, they start getting the bubble guts, and then before you know it, they're crapping out freaking foreign matter, like just what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and just things they just don't recognize clearly. And a lot of parasites that are coming out of the body and being expelled from the body. But as far as what we can take to get rid of some of these parasites, we've talked about the wormwood and the black walnut. We've talked about some of the fruits, the papaya seeds, the pumpkin seeds,
Beets.
Yeah, beets.
Celery.
A lot of things that can help knock these things out. But when we're talking about killing these parasites, you want to take you want to go on a cycle. Some of these are 7-day treatments, 14-day treatments I've seen, and then you want to take a nice little break, because once you get rid of the main host there, they got eggs, you want to make sure to knock those out as well.
Yeah.
So you want to do another cycle of that.
So when you're taking these, you was talking about wormwood, and what was the other one you said?
Yeah, black walnut.
Black walnut. I had read something about a binder.
Yeah.
So when they're talking about a binder, what does that mean when you're going through this regiment of stuff that you're doing?
Yeah. Well, the binder basically, like bentonite and
Charcoal.
Yeah. Basically, when you're starting to kill these things as a defense mechanism, what they'll do is they'll release excrement into your body, so they'll poop and piss in you. And basically, this will cause problems with you. Cause you to get sick, upset stomach. It's going to cause issues with you. Basically, to try to tell you, basically send signals to your brain like, hey, stop doing whatever you're doing. Basically, to fool you, throw you off a little bit. And make you second guess yourself even.
Yeah.
These things play games.
Yeah, they do. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you take them, when you start off with the wormwood, it's a droplet. I think the one we got was a droplet. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a couple different ways, I think, how you can take that. But yeah, we had the dropper.
And so when you do the drop, are you supposed to take the bentonite at the same time? Or when do you take it together simultaneously?
Yeah, you take it together.
Okay.
Because they make you sick. Yeah.
And you do it for a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a
However long
week
it
or
was.
10 days on, 10 days off.
Kids.
Yeah. But, remember when I did the wormwood,
Yeah.
I didn't realize what was happening.
Did you get a headache from it?
Yeah. I got a headache. I upset stomach. I was nauseous. I was like, what is going on? Like, this is not. But it took a little while to do that. Like, I had to keep taking it. Because, the first time I noticed, the bloating went down. I remember, telling you, I was like, man, I don't feel bloated. Because I've had stomach issues, forever, my whole life. And I've tried other things, but when I did the black walnut, I noticed a difference in the bloating, and then I could sleep a little better. But then as I kept going, then I started getting sick. I mean, it kind of happened more when I started taking the mushroom supplements that I noticed a difference.
What mushrooms were them?
Those were honestly just given to me by a friend because she didn't like them or she didn't know they were. But they were the changa, the ashwagandha, cordyceps, lion's mane, reishi, all in one supplement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And Gabe, you was talking about fasting?
Yeah.
How long did you fast for?
Well, I like to go on low fasting regimens. So, I haven't really broken more than a 3-day fasting period. But, obviously as I'm pushing into this fasting thing, I want to try to extend them, to 7 days. Because, obviously after a 3-day fast is when you're really reaching a maximum benefits from your body, maximum autophagy and growth hormone. And when your body really starts to do the work and cleansing itself out. So you really want to, but you got to practice fasting. You don't just jump straight into, long periods of fasting. I think it's much like anything else. You're training your body to become accustomed to doing something. So, if you were ever to dive into that and try that route out, definitely going to take some practice. But.
And when you first went into it, how did you start? Was it, what did you cut out first? Or did you just stop?
Oh man, yeah. They say you want to cut carbs out.
It, right?
Yeah, ease your way into it. The first couple of days, you definitely want to cut some carbs out, and you want to, maybe go a meal a day. Maybe a couple of days before you start a fast, maybe just do 2 days or 2 meals on one day. Then the day before, maybe 1 meal. But definitely cutting out mostly carbs during those days. So you can.
Sugars.
That would make sense because they say carbs is nothing but sugars.
Yeah.
Once it breaks down, it's going to break down into all sugar.
Yeah, spike your insulin, I believe. So
yeah. And then what was your first time fasting? How you went The 1 day, 2 days?
Yeah. Just I made it probably about a day and a half, man, before I had to go get. Man, and that just goes to show the dependence on that you are on some of the foods too. Before my anxiety really started to peak, I was just getting anxious. I was getting like, oh my gosh, dude, the way us humans are dependent on food is insane.
It's insane.
But so you definitely got to ease your way into it.
And then coming out of it, what was the safe way to come out of that?
Yeah, coming out of fast, you definitely want to liquids. A lot of people. You got a lot of different opinions out there, obviously. But you got some folks. Some folks say just dive right into meat. Some guys are like avocado. They say avocado. They say sauerkraut. They say that's good bacteria. That's good for your stomach's bacteria. But you say some. You got some people that are like, nah, meat. You want to do meat. Like how our ancestors fasting. They're just they were starving themselves. Not on purpose, obviously, because they had to hunt for food. But what were they doing? They were eating meat. And which I tend to agree. That's something that makes sense.
Yeah.
But so I err on the safer side, and I try to take something a little lighter, like some bone broth or something, and maybe some egg drop soup, making some egg with that, or some juice, some watermelon juice. But I try to go light because you definitely want to go light, and you're definitely not going to want to take any carbohydrates. You're going to mess your fast all the way up doing that. But
I feel that. How did you feel coming out of it? How did your body feel?
Definitely a lot better. I mean, a lot more energetic. I'd say after the third day of fasting, you almost feel like you don't want to come out of it at that point. You're like, man, I'm feeling pretty great. Waking up sharper, waking up more energy. The energy's off the walls. Like, I don't know. It's pretty good stuff.
Now, did you feel, I know I hear a lot of people say I felt like lighter, less fogginess.
Yep. And also, you want to talk about, stiffness in joints and things like that, and swollen joints and ligaments and all that things. You're definitely a lot more,
Yeah, I've heard some things on that. I've heard as far as parasites, they can bring your inflammation up, your lymphatic system, mess that up.
Your hormones.
Hormones. There were some other things we were talking about earlier that I can do, causing some. Did we say schizophrenia?
Yeah, that was one of the articles.
Yeah.
That Gabe kind of touched on, but this article was from, like I said, the Wiley. Wiley Online Library. So you can, So I mean, this is stuff you can find.
They just get right onto the Wiley Library or whatever it's called, and it pops up. Or they got to search it.
Research,
Okay.
Parasites and how they affect humans. There's tons of medical journals on this stuff. That's another thing. It's like, I had to kind of deep dive into it because I didn't really know anything about it until I started seeing reels.
Because you scared the crap out of me with it.
Yeah, because it's just, it's something that we should be a little bit more aware of. And, you and I, we don't like taking medicines.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Only a lot of people in America are starting to get more leery of medications.
Big pharma and pharmaceuticals.
I mean, the one thing I always say is like, medicine is just, it's to treat a symptom.
Yeah.
It's not going to cure the underlying issue that we have, that our sickness has.
Yeah.
It's just going to treat the symptoms, but because a lot of them have synthetical medicine to it, it comes in and then it begins to change our DNA and clone it, and then we have negative effects, and that creates new diseases or
dependent on it too.
Dependent on things and stuff like that. So I don't like to put different medicines in my body if I don't have to. I'd rather go natural.
Yeah.
If I can find vegetables or whatever it may be to treat my symptoms, what's it called? Homeopathic? Is that what they call that? And they treat you from different natural things. Yeah. I'm more of that, and I'm not like I haven't done this complete study on I'm an anti-vaxxer or anything, but I can say one thing: I was deeply against the COVID vaccine. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you guys. But,
Yeah.
But I was pretty afraid of that. Now
I never got the jab.
Yeah, man. Me neither. These, people are coming up with all kinds of things now.
Yeah.
They're taking it.
I'm glad I didn't. Cause,
Real.
Me too. We're alive. We're okay.
Thinking back to what Gabe said about fasting, in this journal, it says that although a strong inflammatory response is necessary to resolve this acute stage of infection from parasites, this response often has pathological consequences. For example, acute infection can result in miscarriage or congenital defects in the developing baby. Reactivation of infection can cause encephalitis in immunosuppressed people. Even if the infection becomes chronic, the host must maintain continuing immune surveillance of the parasite. Chronic infection has been linked to multiple neuropsychiatric disorders such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, autism, and Alzheimer's disease. Interferon, mainly produced by CD4 plus cells, has a dominant role in the control of T. gondii, which is that other parasite, but is also a cytokine that influences the transcription of numerous genes. So, that makes me think of what we were talking about this morning with like gene expression, and how your genes mutate, and the telomeres at the end of proteins are what can send signals to your systems in your body.
Right.
And so right here, that's saying that's directly affecting that. Yeah. And that's a very important thing to understand, because it's your environment that's harming you.
Right.
And your environment can be indicative to what you eat and what you're ingesting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so they were exploring the inflammatory response and the pathology of the infection. So kind of like the root, and where it came from and how it was affecting the person's body.
Now, there was another story we was talking about and on affecting like that on the body. And I think it was like a lady that had they thought she had cancer. Her liver.
Yeah.
And really what it was is they couldn't figure it out. They ran it through a series of tests. And then finally they did a biopsy on her liver. And the doctor realized she had just an infestation of worms.
Well, they called it a rare cancer at first. This is Cassidy Armstrong. She's 36. She's from Canada, I believe, Edmonton, Canada. And she was told that she had a rare type of cancer that was growing in her liver the size of a grapefruit. And they did all this testing and pretty much told her she was going to die. And so, like, a doctor must have got smart after they took, like, literally big chunks of her liver. They took nodules from her lungs. And then they ended up doing a biopsy. And so, whereas she thought she was going to die from this rare cancer that they couldn't explain, when they biopsied her liver, they found parasites. And so my assumption, they didn't say what kind, but my assumption, because liver flukes are in the liver, and those are a type of parasites that are actually very common, by the way.
Have you ever seen a fluke worm? What they look like?
Yeah.
They're like teeth that clench into your
stuff. Onto your organs.
Your organs, yeah.
Which is, oh my God, so disgusting.
Super disgusting.
Which some of the other articles, and we'll get back to this, but some of the articles that I was reading also were saying how this is such a problem now that they're realizing that it's related to so many different health issues that people have, that just like other things, they want to try to develop a vaccine, but they keep getting denied, which is crazy to me. That
not really. I mean, if you think about it,
I mean, it's just crazy that they would continue to deny that if they know that all the studies and the research are pointing back to parasites. So they know.
Well, that goes back to medicine is only to treat symptoms.
Well, yeah.
You know, so of course they're not gonna.
I mean, yeah.
You know, if you treat the underlying issue, then they're gonna begin to lose money.
Right.
You know, and so I don't know if they would really do that. But you know, there in saying that, there was a bunch of other things too that people think that they have, their immune system is flawed.
Yeah.
But it's really parasites.
Yeah, or heavy metals.
Or heavy metals. Yeah. If it's not a parasite, it's a heavy metal that's killing our immune system. And people are thinking that they have autoimmune disease, and really, you're just covered in parasites, dog.
Yeah, or like, you know, just like that study showing about like inflammatory, like they're trying to reduce the inflammation to see if that helps.
Right.
But you know, I know I talked about this like a couple times with you guys before, but you know, Dr. Pompa, he's another doctor right now that talks about how like we can chase parasites, you know what I mean, by doing these things and doing deworms, which, you know, I strongly encourage that people would deworm at least twice a year, no matter what, because you know, if you eat like crap, especially, or if you're eating lots of sugars, you're eating processed food, junk food, you're eating out all the time. I mean, and pets, especially, like we said, you're going to have an infestation.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would definitely start there, but I would also do more research into how heavy metals and environment, like I said, affect you to the cellular level.
Oh yeah.
Because if your cells are inflamed, you know, your body can't fight off you know, infection and things that really shouldn't be lingering in your body.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good start, you know, and at least a good step in the right direction to be like, you know, cleansing at least a couple times a year for that. But you know, I think like we've talked about before, you know, your environment, your topical products, your household products, your cleaning products, you know, all these things matter, you know, and they affect the systems in your body. So,
you know, the one thing I was thinking about as he was talking that came to my mind was you guys ever heard about the cats and how the parasites in the cats work? And that's like when the cat goes to the restroom, in their fecal matter, there's a parasite. And when they use the restroom, the mice are attracted to the parasite. And so they'll begin to eat on the fecal matter of the cat. Well, that parasite then begins to move to the brain and once again takes control, and it allows the mouse to have its senses kind of shut down, and it has less fear, and it becomes more attracted to the cat.
Yeah.
And so then as the cat is the predator, it allows it to hunt easier because it brings that mouse to it. So, of course, then it eats the mouse, and then the parasite continues the cycle. But they say that, like, the same thing with humans. If the person gets a lot of cats, that there's a high possibility
that they'll get infected.
That they're already infected with the parasite, and that's why they keep on buying more cats, because they're attracted to the cat.
Yeah, that's what, like, the crazy cat lady.
Yeah, the crazy cat lady.
Myth comes from.
That's where the theory comes from.
Think about it though, like, cats lick their butts, and you know, then they lick themselves, and you know, it's like, we know that parasites lay eggs, and so if there's, you know, microscopic eggs on their butts, and then they're licking them, and then they're licking you, and then you're putting your hands in your mouth, like, that's how easy the transfer is for you to get it, infected.
Imagine all you people that just let your cats lick you and your dogs lick you right in the mouth.
Yeah.
After they just had that tongue on their butthole.
Yeah. And it's like if you deworm your pets, I mean, it only makes sense. And just like we talked about earlier, like in other countries they do
Mexico.
this. You can't even go to school if you haven't been dewormed.
Yeah, all over the world they do that.
Yeah. And that's crazy because here they're like, oh, come get your 7th grade injection, but you'll let the kids go to school with parasites and worms and filled.
Yeah.
And just passing it on.
Yeah, and it's so common. That's the thing is like it's so frustrating to think about this stuff right now. Like, yeah, they've been around for years, but the way that the world is right now, especially America, because we're so like unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's we have a better chance to be infested, I think, than other countries do too, because of just the lifestyle. And the food we eat. And so
because it's so, I don't even know what's in the food,
Right.
I've heard these things that, people are saying there's humans in McDonald's. There's, I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying.
I don't know for sure.
I'm just saying,
But you never know.
I've heard these things, crazy things. It makes me think, like, what is in the food? What are we eating?
Right.
And what are they, they say the potatoes are sprayed, with a chemical to keep them from...
Bro.
Getting blemishes on them.
Yeah. And we're just ingesting all these things. And of course, Americans, we're the most obese in the world.
Yeah. Heart disease.
Heart disease like crazy. The highest killer in the world is heart disease.
Yeah.
Well, in America.
In America. It's in America.
Yeah.
We're the most highly vaccinated country as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And now you're seeing all these people that took the jab in the arm having all kinds of effects.
Mm-hmm.
And, just like you were saying, the heavy metals in it, or they're saying autism and all kinds of things. No, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist that knows whether or not that is happening.
But before you're treating, yourself with medications or you're listening to a doctor, you have to do your research. You have to do your research. And honestly, we live in a time of day where if you are ignorant to something, it's because you want to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have the endless accessibility of knowledge at our fingertips. Mm-hmm. Yet all we do is scroll.
And that's the crazy thing, because I mean, although Chat GPT can be wrong sometimes, I still got to fact check Chat GPT. You're absolutely correct. Everybody has that on their phone, and if you can't pick up that phone and learn something off that AI,
like don't just use it for entertainment,
right?
Like use it to gain wisdom, to gain knowledge, understanding. Like, we all should be educating ourselves, because I mean, like, again, this is what they do in other countries.
Now, I'm gonna go a little off topic here, but when I think of AI, I made a reel earlier this year, probably towards springtime, and I need everybody to be careful with your kids in AI, because there was a girl from Texas, 19-year-old, that graduated with honors, but she was illiterate.
Right.
She couldn't read, she couldn't write.
Right.
But had full honors, graduated from high school. And then where it came to play effect is she goes to apply for colleges, and the colleges deny her because she can't take a test. She can't read or write on her own.
But I think I didn't mean like use AI, because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's a little bit lazy.
It is. I mean, but I'm saying.
But it's convenient.
It's at the fingertip to learn.
Yeah, but I mean like do research.
Yeah.
Like
YouTube.
Go read a damn book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like do some, because you can read books on your phone too.
Yeah, you got audio books all day.
Yeah, like you can learn if you want to.
If you want to, yeah.
So by all means, if you want to stay ignorant and be mad at us right now if we're talking about parasites that are in your stomach, because
you got them for sure. I'm telling
because you don't want to listen to
anything
anything else other than your own mindset, then by all means. But I mean, we all have like it at our fingertips.
I'm just saying, for me personally, if I was in a position to where I was like in a stage 4 something,
Oh, I'm doing
and
anything.
I'm dying, I mean,
I'm
you
trying
better give me
anything.
the full regiment
Yeah.
of every single wormwood, ivermectin, flabbergastic, I don't care what it's called, give it to me.
Right.
You know, I mean, seriously, especially if we're thinking it's parasites, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna die anyways.
Little demons,
Literally.
little demons. In
I mean, think about like we were talking about that girl. I mean, she was told she had a rare cancer and she was gonna die in like 6 months.
And then she beat it with some
And then
ivermectin.
they gave her some ivermectin and she went home.
ridiculous. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
That
You know,
sounds so
but
retarded.
think about if that happened to her, like how many more people?
Well,
A lot more,
I mean,
millions
let me
more.
see. Let me look it up real quick because I want to see how many people are literally. Let's see. How many people are infected every day with roundworms, tapeworms, or fluke worms in the U.S.? Let's just see. I'm just curious. It is saying worldwide around 800 million to 1.2 billion are infected worldwide. In the U.S., these infections are rare, mostly seen in travelers or located in pockets of the southeast. But I don't know, man. I mean, we have the animals, we have raw meat. There's contamination everywhere, and like I said, you guys tell me. Do you think COVID was a parasite? I mean, you know, we have a president that was up there saying that he was cured
With
with
ivermectin.
You know, and it wasn't just him. It wasn't just
No.
it wasn't just
It
Republicans. It was Democrats taking it too.
Or, yeah.
And I'm just saying. I mean, was it really a parasite? COVID. What do you guys think?
I mean-
Gabe, I'll go to Gabe first. Gabe, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I think like we had said, I believe they could have been.
What about you? What do you say, babe?
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, COVID is just such a sensitive topic for people because of how many people it killed.
Yeah,
And,
the Rona did come hard.
and I mean, my godmother was one of them. So it
Yeah,
was
same. My aunt passed away from COVID as well.
it was really sad. And,
I think the
you know,
Go ahead.
well, I was going to say my dad told her, like, don't let them give you, like, don't let them do what they're trying to do. Like, because they're going to intubate you and you're going to die.
Yeah, dude.
And like he told her that, and he was like, you need to take ivermectin, and I remember on that time, like, you get so much misinformation, and that's the problem I think with technology too, is like you don't know what to believe. And I think for her, she was probably just because doctors and nurses can be very persuasive too. I mean, if you try to bring up something to them that is natural or that you think is going to be helpful, but they're not on the same, like wavelength as that, they're going to tell you no, and they're going to think you're crazy.
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, man, but there's some doctors that are just like, are you in it to help people?
No, they're
Or
in
are
it
you
for money.
And it's like,
no one goes to. I mean, I don't know. There probably is some people that go to college to to help people, but I mean, come on, it's a very lucrative business.
It is. And it's
decision.
all about the insurance. You got to have the insurance or cash out of pocket. And if you don't have it, well, I mean, even for the government, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like you do your taxes. You better have some type of insurance to prove. Otherwise, you're gonna get fined for not having insurance, which is crazy. Which leads back to healthcare, which leads back to doctors.
I think it kind of brings me back to like contradictive statements too. So like obviously remember during COVID there were so many contradicting things that were being, told to us.
Yeah.
Like stay in your home but don't stay in your home. Like, it can live on surfaces for this long, but don't touch anything. Or, like it can be airborne, but if you wear a mask you're not protected, or you are protected. It was just there were so many conflicting things. And even with that woman, the one we talked about with the liver cancer, the doctor, and you guys can go look him up. Like I said, you can go literally look this video up. But it was Dr. Stan Houston. And he had some contradicting statements when he was doing the interview. And not to mention, he looked and sounded nervous. He sounded uncomfortable. And I was just like, well, because he knows.
Well, sure.
He knows. And people are starting to get more, awake to this. And, he had mentioned that it was new. He's like, this is a new thing. But then tells people, well, if you have pets, make sure you're washing your hands and, washing your vegetables. Well, what? Like, that's like, duh.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But I'm just saying the way he was talking was very contradictive, as
Right.
if it was new. But you got to do A, B, and C. But why didn't how do you know that?
what was it you gave that
You
was
know?
telling me you was talking about a MS patient and they ended up finding it was like a parasite
yeah.
in the spine or something?
Yeah. I believe there was an autopsy that was done, and I can't name the specific one. I don't really remember. I just had seen it somewhere, so don't quote me on it. But yeah, that autopsy was done on an MS patient where they had their spine was infected with parasites. So the spinal all the way up to the brain, and
That's probably what MS
I know.
is.
Yeah, I know.
Literally.
Right. Yeah, and I know that correlation isn't exactly equal causation, but it's kind of like I don't know. Parasites apparently affect everything. From the smallest
Yeah.
things to bloating in our gut and diarrhea and to freaking Alzheimer's or whatever is affecting the brain. You spoke about rabies earlier. Obviously, that's a dramatic case. Mostly infecting animals, but we can contract it as well.
Yeah.
But so these are pretty from the most minor to the most serious of health complications in our bodies that we don't
And it makes me think of like, the autisms, the psychiatric problems, because, think about little kids and how little kids touch and lick and bite
Everything.
and eat and put everything in their mouths. I think that is a big thing to like think about because, gosh, like you're taking your kid into the doctor, you're noticing all these behavioral issues or changes or whatever, and right away, well, those are signs of autism. Your
Yeah.
kid has autism.
Right.
Like you didn't know that maybe you could try something that was a simple regimen to see if it worked, but you were never told
Never
at the
told.
doctor that that's possibly what this could be. So now, just like that woman who the parasites that were in her liver, they said that those parasites were growing over a 10-year span.
Oh, and,
So-
and talking about a 10-year span, that takes me back to like roundworms and tapeworms. Do you know
Yeah.
how long they can live and how big they can grow?
Yeah, dude. I mean, especially if you eat sushi.
Yeah,
You're
they
a
can.
sushi eater.
gotta love that sushi.
Dude, they can live up to a decade long and up to 30 feet long.
That's like your
in
whole
gut.
intestines.
Yeah,
Like
up to
all of your
30 feet
intestines.
in your gut
Yeah.
for a decade.
Yeah, I knew there was a reason why I didn't eat sushi.
Yeah, dude, me neither.
Dude,
And I can't eat fish or
And I used to
shellfish.
love sushi, dude.
Oh
I would love, especially with some avocado in there. You know what I'm saying? Some little crunchies on top with some sweet oyster sauce. Boy, I'm going to town on it.
I don't know what those rolls are, but get them away from me.
Yeah, I don't touch them anymore. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to change my diet because I do feel miserable. And man, I'm just saying, a lot of things that I eat, it'll make me feel bloated instantly.
Instant.
Instantly,
And
dude.
I just think of like, the way that things are looked at, like on scans and stuff like that. Like, if you're not actually like going inside of it, like your body with like a scope, like, how can you really know what something is based off of an image?
But can we even see it with a scope? Can we see parasites with a
I
scope?
mean, you can definitely see an infestation, yeah. If there's a scope being put down your throat or up your butt, yeah, they should be able to see like,
The bigger ones.
yeah, the bigger
Some of
ones.
the bigger ones.
If kids, especially like I said, like a lot of studies have been researched and linked to autism, and so yeah, like those kids. For sure. I mean, all you got to do is look online. Like, literally look online. Look at how many kids have been treated for parasites at such a young age, and the stuff that is coming out of them.
Dude, I can imagine.
So imagine you as a grown adult who has never been dewormed because we didn't know about it. We have parasites.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did celery juice. I do celery juice like every year. And I try to do it. When I do it, I try to do it for like a week straight. And the dookie that you push out your body. But I'm serious, man. It sounds gross.
But better out than in.
Better out than in. And I'm telling you, when you drink this stuff, you just got to put it down the hatch because it's pretty bitter. It's celery juice. But instantly, you feel a cramp in your liver. And then after that, I mean, you'll expel mucus. You'll expel just things that look like they have wings. Like, who knows what comes out your butthole.
Yeah.
But it's definitely disgusting.
Yeah.
Those flying parasites, huh? He's got wings. Can you imagine? Oh my God.
It's so gross.
Yeah, but there's some that, like, in other countries can, like, literally crawl out of you and crawl back in.
So there's this one. Let me see if I can find it.
Can't, dude.
It's it is called I don't know what it's called.
You're
But
talking about the one that
I was telling you guys about it earlier.
gets into your, like, heel or whatever? Is that what you're...
No, that's like a hookworm.
No, you were talking about the one that, like, tries to get out of your skin.
Yes. And it's called like the Draculus something. The Draculus something, a crazy name. But anyways, this parasite, it's a worm. And it gets in you and it lays a larva. And the female larvas, when they're ready to start traveling and exit the body to start a new process of the journey, the female will literally try to escape through the skin of the human. It'll try to come from the inside of the body and make its way out of the body, and it leaves sores on the skin.
Looking like a meth head with parasites.
Literally, it looks like you have boils. And there's like only a specific way to remove these things, and it's super disgusting. I know he said something. I was reading about it, and it said there was like some. I don't know if it takes a special stick or what it has, but it's got to be removed. Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Can't tell you exactly how to do it or a doctor, but I can tell you the Draculus meniscus.
Look, man.
Parasite, whatever it's called.
If you have that, you need to go to the hospital, like, immediately.
But it comes from drinking water. It comes from drinking water in contaminated areas.
Yeah.
And then of course you got like the amoebas and stuff that like are brain eating parasite that'll
Well,
kill you in a week.
yeah. You know what I forgot, Gabe? Was the amoebas, right?
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are in root canals.
Oh.
Like in your mouth root canal?
Yeah, in your mouth root canals, they're finding a lot of that. Look that up too. I'm telling you, if you have issues and you have no idea what the cause is, but you've had dental work done, it is the amoebas that get in the crowns. Or what do they put on? Yeah, it's a crown,
they put a
right?
crown,
That they put on
or a filling.
after you get a root canal.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like they're shoving this synthetic thing in your mouth, and then they're like gluing, like super gluing it, or however they're cementing it. And,
I think it's cemented.
And so, you know, a lot of people have gotten their teeth redone because doctors are finding that they've had amoeba in their gums.
And that can like kill you awful quick.
Heck yeah. I mean, if you have any type of tooth infection, I would just say, you know, to anyone right now who has, you know, teeth, like rotting teeth or teeth that need to be worked on.
What she's trying to say is if you don't brush your teeth and you got some
No.
green, I'm just joking.
I'm just saying, like, you can still be a healthy person, brush your teeth every day, floss and all that. But if you have that type of work done, you absolutely could be susceptible to getting amoeba because of the type of, you know, crown or however they put it in. And so it's open. There's little openings to infection.
Yeah. And for real, mouth infections are super dangerous. You can die.
Yeah,
super
they can
quick.
kill you.
You
Yeah.
can die. So if you are facing a tooth infection, get to the doctor, man.
Yeah.
Get you some ivermectin. Get you some.
Get you
you
something.
Z-Pack. Get
Yeah.
you something, man. Get that infection out of there. 'Cause,
Yeah.
even if you got to do a coconut pull, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, coconut pools are good.
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean,
I don't
I
know
don't
if
know.
they like take amoeba out or anything.
I don't think
like
it's gonna
that,
take any amoeba out.
I think
but-
bacteria for sure.
Yeah, if you got some infections and you can't get to the doctor right now, definitely get you some coconut oil. It's $11 at Walmart. Throw a glob in your mouth and swish it around for about 5 minutes, and it'll help for a little bit. But it's just a Band-Aid till you get to the doctor.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
but yeah, guys, we're getting really close to an hour here. I think we have more to talk about, so I'm gonna
always
invite you
more.
guys back to finish this up because I don't think we talked about everything.
Plenty more to talk.
But thank you guys for being here. And to all the viewers, if you guys have learned anything about parasites or you guys just got tired of your dogs licking their butt and then licking your lips and stuff, let us know what you did to cure your worms and parasites or any experiences you've been through. But once again, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And Natalie, you're so beautiful. Thank you for being here. You're easy on my eyes to sit here and talk to you with.
You're so funny.
And Gabe, your
Me
voice
too.
is always lovely.
Yeah, me too. And I thought you were gonna say I was beautiful too.
Well, I mean, you do put a tender little heart on. You're pretty
You
good
are
looking.
pretty beautiful,
You're easy on the
Gabe.
eyes, my friend. And guys, if you're looking, I'm just joking. He's not available. He's mine.
He's single and ready to mingle.
He's mine.
Listen, I'm for the streets. No,
But all right, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, go get some ivermectin or some dog dewormer or something, and get yourself healed up.
Do your research.
Do your research. But we're gonna be back with another episode to finish this up because we didn't finish it. But like always, God bless. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
peace.